restraint tool criticized for its use at Guantanamo Bay is now drawing fire for its use in Iowa's prisons and jails. Here are the results of a major investigation. And closing the courts might not be enough. The Iowa court system has to find new ways to cope with the governor's requested budget cuts. Plus, the story of an Iowa veteran who got a surprise in his mailbox in return for his bravery decades ago.
From WHO-TV, this is Channel 13 News at 9 on Fox 17.
Today, a report shows this chair is one way jailers and prison guards are restraining the mentally ill, a practice that some say could have tragic results. A 180-page report released today outlines complaints lodged with the state ombudsman's office dating back to 2006. The investigation found 8 major concerns. They include appropriate use of restraints, monitoring of restrained inmates, and time limits for restraint use. In some instances, inmates were left in the chair for up to 12 hours. And even more disturbing, the use of restraint chairs on people with mental illness. Sonia Heitsusen explains.
The advertisement for the restraint chair calls it a padded cell on wheels, but the state ombudsman, Bill Angrick, did not cushion the results of his more than year-long investigation on its use. He found jailers in 5 Iowa counties, Jefferson, Woodbury, Appanoose, Wapello, and Polk, failed to follow the manufacturer's guidelines and even broke the law.
We found in many instances that individuals were kept in chairs far in excess of the recommended time that we give of 2 hours.
In one complaint, the restraint chair is described as a torture chair. In another, an inmate was placed in the chair for 10 hours, during which time she defecated while being restrained. Of particular concern, the use of the chair on people with mental illness.
Individuals who have mental illness present special challenges and have special behavioral problems that need to be addressed differently.
The executive director of Iowa's Alliance for the Mentally Ill goes a step further. Margaret Stout believes the use of restraint chairs on the mentally ill is a violation of their civil rights.
It is a violation, and frankly, it's inhumane.
Stout says the consequences could be tragic.
I mean, they could die.
Stout and Angrick suggest better screening of inmates to diagnose mental illness prior to the use of a restraint chair. But with fewer resources overall, Stout doubts that will happen.
And I don't know how we're going to do that with this jail system that we have, and they just simply don't have the staff to do that.
The state ombudsman made 13 recommendations in his report. He commended Polk, Jefferson, and Wapello counties for adopting all of them. Woodbury and Appanoose counties have rejected most, if not all, of the recommendations. Angrick says his office will follow up with all of the jails included in his investigation. He's also urging lawmakers to pass additional administrative rules regulating the use of restraints. A plan to charge jail inmates for toilet paper in Burlington has been scrapped. Des Moines County officials pitched the plan as a way to save money in light of the county's $1.7 million budget shortfall this year. Budget officials say billing inmates for toilet paper could save more than $2,300. However, yesterday, jail administrators shut down the idea. Hard times at the Clayton County Jail in St. Olaf are about to get even harder. The sheriff says the jail will stop selling cookies, candy, soda, and other luxuries to prisoners on March 1st. The sheriff says, quote, "This isn't a Holiday Inn, this is the Clayton County Jail," end quote. Meanwhile, hundreds of job cuts could be coming to the state's court system. Earlier this week, Iowa courts held their first furlough day to deal with a multi-million-dollar budget shortfall. Today, Iowa Supreme Court Chief Justice Marcia Turnus said up to 10 more furlough days might be necessary this spring, as well as nearly 200 job cuts next year. Turnus adds the current workforce is already below what's needed to complete casework.
When a court system is crippled and they can't process the cases and a backlog develops, the old adage, justice delayed is justice denied, becomes real.
Turnus says both furloughs and job cuts will create a ripple effect of new problems for Iowa, including more jail and hospital fees. She says final decisions will be made after the legislature approves the upcoming state budget. Agriprocessors Incorporated could soon be sold. That's according to the Postville Plant's Chapter 11 bankruptcy trustee, Joseph Sarachek. Sarachek says the U.S. Bankruptcy Court has green-lighted financing and procedures allowing the sale to proceed. But he says the company making the opening bid of $40 million for the plant failed to complete the process. If another leading bidder is not found, Sarachek says Agriprocessors would be sold at auction next month. Officials expect the plant to return to full production after the sale. It took 40 years, but a Vietnam veteran in Des Moines finally gets his dues. Marty Cardenas was drafted into the Army right out of Des Moines East High School. He spent a year in Vietnam and many more in counseling. He's now more comfortable talking about his experiences. And as Mark Tauschek reports, his stories now come with proof that recently arrived in the mail.
It never leaves you. You know that. I think about it night and day.
Marty Cardenas and his fellow soldiers had a dangerous routine in Vietnam.
Fly over in helicopters till we draw ground fire. And they'd find an opening, drop us off. And we'd go make contact with the enemy.
This machine gunner lost many friends. He himself was shot in the back and both legs.
My little boy, of all things, I turned around and asked, what should I do? Because there's a little boy sitting there with a rifle across his leg, and he'd turned and fired. And that hurt.
Another day, Marty ran into enemy fire and carried 2 injured soldiers to safety, a bright spot in an otherwise horrible experience.
I was really scared of him back then. He had terrible nightmares and flashbacks.
Marty's benefited from years of counseling. Today, he talks openly about Vietnam, but when he does talk to his grandkids or the rest of his family, it always has bothered him that he didn't have a Purple Heart to prove his injuries or a Bronze Star to validate his bravery.
If I tell somebody I had Purple Hearts and Bronze Stars, you know, that would be a lie.
His dad was on him, and I was looking on the internet where you could send for records.
So his wife made initial contact with the government, and a year and a half later, look what came in the mail.
Happy. He called me up. I wasn't here when he came. He sounded like a little kid.
Marty's service record has officially changed from Vietnam participant to Vietnam hero. He's most excited to tell his dad, a veteran of World War II.
And when I got these, I told my wife I'm not going to say nothing to my dad until I got hold of somebody, and maybe this kind of surprised him, you know.
Actually, Marty's revealing the surprise to his dad.
That makes me like want to cry and stuff, you know, when I think about showing him, you know.
By having him watch this news story.
Today, a spokesman with the Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs says he wished the family had called his office. They would have organized a ceremony. If you are a military veteran and have questions about a combat award, call Iowa Veterans Affairs at 515-242-5331. What a great story.
Dedicated service, and how cool for your father to see it that way, and of course to be recognized. Great. Thank you for your service to our country. 19, the temperature by tomorrow morning, those teens to the single digits up in northern Iowa. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer, but that's going to come with some snow.
This is Channel 13 News at 9 on Fox 17. From WHO-TV, Lynn Melling, meteorologist Ed Wilson, and Keith Murphy Sports. You're watching Channel 13 News at 9 on Fox 17.
A deadly tornado sweeps through central Georgia. Several homes and businesses in Sparta were completely destroyed by the twister. One person was killed. At least 7 others were injured in the storm. More than 1,000 people are still without power after power lines were knocked down. And, yeah, here in central Iowa, we're going to see a little
snow. This is not going to be a major problem. Unless you're traveling to the north or possibly northeast, it could be a bigger deal for you. Kim Porter of Glidden sent this little squirrel picture in. Can you see the little head of the squirrel
up there? Oh, cute.
Not sure that that's actually a squirrel feeder. I think it's probably a bird feeder, but squirrels are happy when they get something to eat. I have about 8 of them in my backyard, and they look like house cats. They're huge. 24 degrees the temperature, the dew point's 5, and a calm wind, making for a pretty decent evening. Some people out walking tonight, so I was able to take a little time off for some dinner. Temperatures in the 16-degree mark into the 20s. Down to the south of us. You'll have a chance to enjoy much warmer temperatures next week. I know it sounds like a ways off, but we have to get through one more storm system that's going to give us kind of a double punch. The first one will come with a chance for a little bit of light snow. It's going to come here by tomorrow evening, about this time. In fact, low pressure system will sweep through. It has the counterclockwise motion of air. High pressure will move in right behind it, so the second punch of the storm will be cold air that's going to come our way Friday night and throughout the day on Saturday. It will be dry for the wrestling fans that are coming to town for the finals of state wrestling Saturday. That's good news. Travel plans, not so bad. Northeastern Iowa might be a little bit under the gun for snow, but I think by the time we get around to those the wrestling tournament in the afternoon and evening, things should be a-okay. 9 o'clock tomorrow night. There's our first chance for some snow to hit the area and to pile up to northeastern Iowa, but just a dusting here to maybe a ½ inch of snow expected. Saturday, it will be dry, but it's going to be cold, and the wind Friday night could give us a problem with blowing snow, 2 to 3 inches, 4 to 5 inches out in eastern Iowa along the Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin border. It's promoted a winter storm watch there. Here's what we're expecting as far as the extended outlook on Friday. 2 o'clock in the afternoon through 10 o'clock Friday night into the early hours of Saturday. The storm system will be out of here. Your weekend looking dry right through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Another system develops, but notice how we have rain here. Snow stays to the north. That is the much warmer air that we have over central Iowa. It's going to be a week full of 40s. 13 the low tonight. Our cold overnight with a west-northwest breeze at around 5 to 10 by tomorrow morning. A southwest wind tomorrow turns to the northwest quickly at 10 to 20, 37, and after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In fact, we should say about after 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, a chance for that snow to move in. Tomorrow night, 18 degrees. It's going to be windy, light snow, even if we see just a ½ inch. Could be blowing around, reducing some visibilities. Streets and roadways shouldn't be too bad, though. Saturday, Sunday, dry and warmer by Sunday. And that's just a little taste of the 40s that we're going to see next week. Monday, a beautiful day. It seems like it's always Monday. But showers next week toward the end of the week. Again, not a major storm coming our way, just some nice weather.
All right, I'll take it.
Okay.
Thanks, Ed. Another busy day of state wrestling. Highlights from all 3 classes coming up. Plus, she's light on her feet on a balance beam, but what about the dance floor? Keith Murphy talks to Sean Johnson next. Keith joins us now in sports, and another big day over at the Well.
Every day there's state wrestling at the Well. It's a big day. It's crazy over there. No state takes more pride in wrestling than ours. History shows only 17 Iowa boys have won 4 state titles. Bart Ryder could make it 18. The pride of Don Bosco on the mat again tonight at 135. Bart's brother Mac was a 4-time champ. The Riders could become the first brothers in that elite group. Riverside's Bryce Dietz in all kinds of trouble, and there's no escape. Bart Ryder pins his man and does no celebrating. He's looking for 2 more wins and that 4th medal. Excuse me. Let's move up a class to 2A and check on the powerhouse East Marshall GMG. East Marshall with 6 wrestlers in the 2A field. This is Gabe Udy at 130, sticks his man to the mat. To the favorites, Ballard of Huxley, otherwise known, Ed, as the Fighting Weatherman. Yes. Brock Weatherman at 171 wins by fall. Same story for Trent Weatherman at 152, and at 135, would you believe this is Tanner Weatherman? He advances with a technical fall. On the 2A scoreboard, Ballard in control with 33.5 points in the opening round. East Marshall GMG in 4th place. Next up, 3A quarterfinals, another strong showing for Roosevelt with 5 winners. The Riders' Chad Lohman runs up the score on Valley's Nick Pappas. Lohman with a technical fall. Southeast Polk in the hunt for a team title. The Rams' Brian Johnson takes care of Valley's Cody Redman at 189. Also at 189, Urbandale's Evan Knight. Decisions, Spencer's Sean Elliott. Urbandale also strong at 160, where Michael Marino wins with a first-period fall.
You can never really expect anything in this sport, but that's what my plan was. Go out and throw a half in real quick. Try to get some quick back points, maybe the fall. So, yeah, that's what I expected.
Urbandale in 8th. Iowa City West moves ahead of Waverly Shell Rock. Then it's all Metro, Southeast Polk, Roosevelt, Indianola, and Valley, all in the top 6. Sean Johnson makes moves on a 4-inch balance beam no one has ever seen before. She's an athletic daredevil and Olympic gold medalist. She's also ready for a new challenge. Sean is one of the competitors on the television show Dancing with the Stars. She and her dance partner, Mark Ballas, trained in Des Moines today before moving their practices to L.A. Saturday. Sean is the youngest and shortest contender in the show's 8 seasons. She's also the early favorite to win.
What makes you feel more pressure, getting ready to dance or getting ready for the Olympics? Which makes you more nervous?
Nervous to dancing, but pressure gymnastics, of course. I mean, I spent my whole life waiting for that one moment in gymnastics, so I had 16 years riding on me. whereas this is just a few weeks. But I definitely get more nervous because this isn't something I'm used to. I'm going to be so shy when I go out there, I don't know. Or I'm going to try not to be, actually.
Sean and Mark practice 5 hours a day. She tells me that dancing should help her gymnastics floor routine if she goes for more gold as expected in 2012. Women's basketball, another win for the Hawkeyes, this one over Wisconsin. And Drake is upset at Northern Iowa. A little revenge for the Panthers. Time to play Central Iowa's fastest growing game show. Who did Paul Rhodes hire today? If you said Shane Burnham, you win. Shane Burnham will coach the defensive tackles. Shane is the son of Iowa State's new defensive coordinator, Wally Burnham. So Paul Rhodes has been a busy guy hiring assistants.
Yeah.
So far, you are not on the list.
Oh, come on.
No.
One of these days, I'll
Love football as much as you do.
Thanks, Keith. We'll be right back. It may not be the hardest part, but American Idol's first 3 to make the top 12 just made it over a big hump. Fox's Adam Housley got to talk to the finalists afterwards.
I hate this part. This is so tough.
There's nothing like the drama on American Idol results night, and the first 3 singers to make the cut can tell you all about it.
I just want to find out.
The lifelong pauses between each
No,
phrase.
how about the 5-minute commercial between my results?
No, how about the soundtrack while all the results are going on? That just kills me. Yeah.
Like Jaws.
The person going through is Michael.
There are 9 more slots to fill, 6 by vote, 3 by the judges, and obsessing over Simon brought one question immediately to mind.
How do you get your hair that way, Simon?
I would ask him what road he took to get to the place that he's at.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm really amazed by what he's done in his life.
Yeah.
And what does it take to please him?
Past winners all say you've got to enjoy yourself, but watching this week's show, fun was hard to find.
Amongst all the work that we're trying to do, I think we're genuinely having a good time.
Having a blast.
Yeah, I mean, you're living.
Fun, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You're living your dream in front of millions of people. It feels really great.
And as they wait to be joined by the rest of the final 12, these 3 are already working to improve.
It's just a matter of like the confidence thing. I think I've been thinking this all this week that I have an alter ego when I go on stage. So I really need to embrace that when I get on stage and really learn what that's all about.
I'm up there singing and I hear myself here and there going flat or sharp. And I'm like, you know, I really don't have to do that. Why am I doing that? So I want to clean up my vocal.
I learned what I feel like I need to learn. What those judges had to say to me it only made me better.
I don't need to be anything other than a prison guard son.
Expect the next dozen hopefuls to kick it up a notch next Tuesday night only on Fox. In Hollywood, Adam Housley, Fox News.
And the suspense begins.
You know, huge ratings for that show. The first 2 just knocking it out of the park. A lot of interest there. You may be interested in when that snow is going to fall here in central Iowa. It's going to be very little snow that we'll see, but by around 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, the system starts to move in. By our 9 o'clock news tomorrow night, you'll see a few flurries. Light snow pushes into eastern Iowa and out of the area, but we'll be left with quite a bit of wind to deal with on Saturday. It will be cold. Most of the travel, I think, for folks at the state wrestling should be okay. Friday, though, with that extra snow on the ground and some wind blowing around, you want to check out road conditions right here before you take off. 511, the number to call, and watch us right here at 9.
Okay, thanks very much, Ed. And thank you for joining us. Have a great night.